Welcome back. In this lesson, we cover the execution guarantee in standard and express workflows. We discuss the number of executions per type, then the persistent execution size, then we talk about idempotency, and finally we cover execution history. With standard workflows, execution is guaranteed to happen exactly once, while with express workflows, both asynchronous and synchronous, execution is guaranteed to happen one time or more times, but at least once. With standard workflows, the execution state internally persists between transitions. On the contrary, execution state does not persist between state transitions with express workflows. Idempotency means that no matter how many times you execute the workflows, you achieve the same result. So with standard workflows, there is an automatic idempotent response on starting an execution with the same name as currently running workflow. The new workflow would not start and an exception is thrown once the currently running workflow is complete. With express workflow, idempotency is not automatically managed. In asynchronous express workflows, starting multiple workflows with the same name result in concurrent execution. If the state machine logic is not idempotent, then internal workflows with the same name internal workflow state would get lost. So the internal workflow state might get lost. With synchronous express workflows, step functions would wait until an execution starts and then return the result on completion. Workflows do not restart if an exception occurs. As for execution history, we can only view them with standard workflows. As for express workflows, execution history is not captured. We must enable login through Amazon CloudWatch logs. In summary, with standard workflows, the execution is guaranteed exactly once and the state of the execution persists internally between state transitions. When an execution happens for a new workflow with the same name as the currently running workflow, idempotency is automatically managed. Step functions maintain an execution history for standard workflows up to 90 days. As for express workflows, the execution is guaranteed at least once, and the state of the execution doesn't persist between state transitions. Step function doesn't capture the execution history for express workflows. For monitoring, we must enable the login in CloudWatch. As for idempotency, this is not automatically managed by step function, and the behavior is different between synchronous and asynchronous workflows. Next lesson, we will have a look at cost optimizations using express workflows. Are you going to join me at the next lesson?